Perfect. Hey, everybody, welcome to day 2 at Print 18. Our first official panel of the day is something I strongly believe in. We, as a printing industry, must start collaborating with the end users, with, if you're a manufacturer, with the printers, in a way that's all about them and not so much about us. And I'll put us as I'm pretending I'm somebody who sells something. We're going to talk about today about some best practices for collaborating with customers and how the products and services of the people on our panel actually can enable you to do some of that. So with that being said, we're going to start with Konica Minolta. Can you please let everybody know who you personally are, what you do at Konica Minolta, and how Konica in general is helping businesses grow? Oh, yes, and I'm sorry, you could pull the mics out when you...
Hi, everybody. My name is Barclay Locks. I'm an industrial print analyst. I work on the service and solutions team for Konica Minolta. We like to take world-class software, world-class hardware, and combine them a little bit closer to create a solution for the customer that's going to meet their needs. We want to make sure that they have the tools to do their job both successfully and to be also profitable at the same time.
Thanks so much. Kevin Humina.
Thank you. Good morning. Kevin Humina, CEO at Chili Publish. Chili Publish has created a software for smart artwork and marketing material production, and we enable our customers to build applications that can then often drive print.
Thank you so much. ABC from Enfocus. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
I know, you like it, don't you?
I know, I do. Look good.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Andrew Bales-Collins, or as Deborah said, abbreviated to ABC. I'm a senior product manager at Enfocus, responsible for a product called Pit Stop, which you may be aware of. Enfocus is primarily, I guess, known for Pit Stop, but we also have various other products. I guess the other big one being Switch, which is an automation platform which helps you automate, but does it by combining additional products. So third-party products can be automated, so they're no longer islands of individual automation, but they come together to build a workflow, if you like. Also an app store. So our goal is twofold. One is to ensure quality control, because without quality there's no point putting ink on a substrate. And the second part is to help you automate to make sure that you get the best production that you can.
Thank you so much. PrintIQ. Who are you? What do you do at PrintIQ? And how is PrintIQ helping print businesses grow?
Thanks, Deborah. My name is Matt Milishevsky. I am sales manager for Eastern Region US at PrintIQ. PrintIQ is a MIS workflow for any vertical within the printing industry, combining functions for e-commerce, order entry, quoting and estimating, taking that information through production, inventory, and eventually purchasing and invoicing. It's meant to automate all of the flow of data from the point of quoting and estimating and order entry to the point of billing and collecting. So we license software across the world. We're headquartered out of Wellington, New Zealand, spanning into the UK and North America as well.
Thank you so much. So, before, when I was writing these questions and I was thinking about collaboration, I realized I always thought of it as a human-to-human thing. But in reality, I collaborated with the Delta website to get myself a ticket to come here. So I collaborated with a platform. And that sort of changed my idea of what collaboration could be. So I was wondering, for the panel, what is your definition of a successful B2B collaboration, and how do you make it repeatable? Kevin, you want to start?
I think a successful collaboration means that you take best of breed, you connect that together, and you build the best possible solution for your customers or your organization. And for us, that's been our philosophy from day one, that you can't be good at everything at the same time. So it's better to work together. And I think we work together with all the companies here on my left and right. And again, I think that allows for customers to also, as things evolve in time, to maybe replace certain elements in that collaboration that are not fit anymore. You know, sometimes companies lag behind or technology lags behind. So by taking best of breed you and connecting them together, you are able 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 years later to review that and maybe just change one component rather than having to change the full solution.
I always respect everything you're saying. I just think you came at it too late in the process, because first you have to convince somebody to collaborate with you. And how do you do that? I mean, if it's only in their best interest, then it's not really something that they're doing above and beyond if it's to their benefit. Andrew, do you want to say something?
It's funny because when I saw the question, the first thing that entered my mind is
When you heard the
when
question.
I heard the question.
Because nobody has the questions. I want to make that
I
very
mean
clear. Okay.
Customers crave collaboration. The first thing that do they?
Right.
Do they really crave? You know, I mean, I think there's a danger that, you know, we're very excited about print, and we're very proud of what we do because my background is print. But do they really care? They just want to give us the job, have it done, and get it back. You know, do they really want to know? Oh, it's past pre-flight, and we're ripping it now, and we've made the plates, and it's going on press, and it's been printed, and now it's being finished, and we're going to deliver it. I don't think they're that bothered about it. That's the one part of it, and the other part is the data entry and the submission of the job. And I think a lot of it is over-egged. It's too much.
Yeah, but take that to the other end of it. Your software enables your customers to collaborate with theirs.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. You mean the end user? Yeah, I'm talking about sort of the end user, the supplier.
Yeah, but they do care about that. So you actually have a tool that could help printers help their customers better through collaboration, but it needs to start with somebody setting an example of how that happens.
Yeah,
So
and I think the whole thing is it can be tailor-made. I mean, maybe we've got an audience here. How many of you actually send hard proofs, print proofs out, and send them to customers?
one.
One. And how many of you send sort of soft proofs, PDFs, and things like that?
That's what I usually get.
Yeah. So you're sending, you know, you're sending an email or something. You're no longer sending hard copy proofs. So that the way that we're interacting with our customers has changed to the way we used to 5-10 years ago.
Right, exactly.
And it's an evolving process.
Right.
You know, you've got Twitter, you've got social media, you've got Snapchat. There's lots of different ways of doing it. I mean, we were talking a little bit about this before we started. And I think one thing now is you shouldn't be worried about the technology. You should just wonder how you want to do it, and then go and find something that lets you do that.
And that's kind of the point. You have to be able to talk to people. PrintIQ?
I'd reiterate everything the gentleman from Enfocus said. I'm sorry, is it Mark? Andrew. Andrew from
ABC.
Enfocus said. When PrintIQ initiates a potential project with a customer, one of the things we're needing to gather at the very early stage is ultimately what is the goal of the project? What are we trying to achieve? Now, in a lot of cases, it's simply replacing the old MIS, which is pretty cut and dry, straightforward for us, and that's a relatively easy project. But what we're finding more and more, and as print evolves, is how do we achieve greater levels of automation? And then we assess whether it's within not only the scope of our software, but also within the customer's budget. If it's not within the scope of our software, that's really where collaborative efforts come into play. We rely on an Enfocus switch. We rely on Chili for some of the features that their technology can be utilized with, embedded within the confines of our e-commerce system, or outside of our e-commerce system. So when we talk about collaboration, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to be here.
Right.
Because ultimately it's about what the customer wants to achieve, and then what pieces of the puzzle are required in order to achieve that goal.
And you bring up a really great point, because, you know, every company will show you who their partners are, and the more partners they have, you have to understand that they know how to work with people. Sometimes they go on websites and they have no partners, and I'm like, what's wrong with them? Like, they can't have a perfect solution that does everything. Why aren't they working with other people? So for me, it's like they don't play nicely with others, kind of thing. Konica Minolta, you actually are a press manufacturer, but you have an amazing software that I'm not sure if you partner with it or you own it, I guess you'll tell us, called DaVinci, that helps packaging designers realize their projects. Can you discuss that?
Yes, we have the DaVinci software. I think we're partnered with it. It's a really cool product. It can really help you take a box, for example, and add embellishment to it, digital foiling, digital 3D varnish to it, and be able to create that quickly and easily on a project, and be able to send that as a virtual proof to your customer. They can take a look at it. It's a 3D virtual look. They can spin it around and take a look what the embellishment's actually going to look like and everything. They can then approve it from there and or send back with changes. It cuts a lot of the time out for the customer to have to create the files. Once the customer approves the embellishment, they can go ahead and create the print-ready files from it and send it right over to a system like our MGI system to do the digital embellishment and foiling.
It's really cool. If you haven't been to the Konica Minolta booth, it's up on a big screen, and you can put images on the package that's flat, but then the 3D rendering will fold the package so you can see, is the eye in the crease? Do I need to move the logo a little to the left? When it folds, there's only so much the human brain can do with a flat piece. You kind of need to see I'm sure it's very helpful for designers.
It is, and it makes it a lot easier for those designers to create it quickly and easily. You can actually see the level of varnish that'll be going down and how much of effect you're going to have, and see what the texture is going to look like and where it's going to fall on top of the 4-color process print that's going to be on that package. So it takes a long process that can be a lot of times tedious for a pre-press person to be able to do quickly and easily for a less knowledgeable person when it comes down to some of the software packages.
I mean, I'm a little obsessed with this software, as if Eric Holder would tell you that's true. It's also a great opportunity for a printer, because you can say somebody who's maybe not a great packaging designer and say, look, I got you. To give me the flat file and I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know if you guys some of you weren't here last year, but this is Jamie the printer in the front row with the antenna on. And Jamie is from Allegra Princeton, and he comes here. This is his second year, and his job is to listen to the panels and do checks and balances, keep you guys honest, because he's a printer. I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. But he takes his job very serious, and he knew the panel topics, and he has been collecting questions from other printers, from people in his print shop, the operators, the software people. So in many ways, the questions that he asks are the most important because they're from the regular people out there. So Jamie the printer, you have a question for the panel. Jamie the printer, sound guide, Jova, handheld, my friend. We're just waiting for the mic.
Hello, everybody.
There we go. Jamie the printer, everybody.
Yes, my customers come to me. We collaborate with outside vendors for finishing. We collaborate with our manufacturers for different things to learn how to do that, paper companies. But they come to me and ask me to find them printers all around the country or world, because sometimes they can't get things done in time. Is there ways for us to kind of tie you into our customers, to collaborate with our customers and learn what you guys are doing? Because sometimes they just come to us, they have certain questions, but sometimes it's beyond us maybe, or something, the software. Are you guys open to collaborating with our customers?
Do you provide any sort of end user education through your customers? If that makes sense.
Yes, I think we do. I mean, I'm speaking from a PDF point of view, really, and it starts at the front and finishes at the back. So the more you can, I'm probably talking myself out of a job actually, because if we get a correct, I mean, Deborah and I had a chat about this the other day, and if you get a correct PDF at the beginning, everything else kind of flows afterwards. So our job is to kind of put it right and make sure that it is fit for purpose. So we're quite glad when things go wrong at the beginning. But
some people don't know how to make correct PDFs.
Well, that's right, and also they don't know how to fix it. So if you want CMYK and you start talking about CMYK, I think I said when I was talking to Deborah, they like a nice pretty picture on the screen, and then they expect to see that nice pretty picture reproduced on a piece of paper. So we can help educate them about, we have lots of videos and webinars and things like that, to share knowledge, because it's all about knowledge. So yeah, that's kind of what we do.
PrintIQ, Chile, Konica, anybody?
Within the PrintIQ system, and this is pretty much the extent of how we would go about collaborating with your customers or assisting them anyways. There's a customer-facing front end for order entry, submitting quotes, etc. One of the things we did for our customers, which is evolving into your customers, is a tutorial called Walk Me. It's a little link located in the bottom right-hand corner of this section. And if any user of the software at any point in time has any questions as to how to use the features in front of them, they can click on the Walk Me, and there's a set of instructions as to how they go about submitting an order, how they go about submitting a quote request, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's one of the tools that our customers have really taken on to, because it's intuitive enough for them to walk themselves through it without emailing us or emailing support for how do I do this, how do I do that.
Kevin?
Yeah, I think the way we try to educate users, or we could potentially help them, is through our white papers. We invest a lot in trying to work with analysts or industry experts to describe what the opportunities are, and how they can use a technology like ours, or maybe another one, but at least explain the concepts high level, because I think it's sometimes a lack of knowledge, especially if you've been doing things a certain way for many, many years. It's hard to see that there's different possibilities out there. So I think white papers is our best way to try to educate either potential customers or even users of customers to at least understand what that means and what solutions we can bring to the table.
You also have your spicy talks.
Oh yeah, we have our user conference, but I guess most of us here have their user conference. Yeah, we try to bring at least once a year all our users and partners together. A physical event, not digital, not online, and we talk for 2 to 3 days about all the market opportunities and what goes well, what goes wrong, and we try to also train. We have a lot of extensive training classes there where people can up their game, because we keep evolving the platforms. There's one thing to acquire a platform and got it up and running, but then to stay up to date with all the new stuff that comes into it and the possibilities, you need to stay educated. And we extended that even now through a e-learning platform, which is what we call our academy, where people can actually go and find videos and keep themselves up to date.
Chile has a lot of great resources, not just, ultimately, of course, they would want you to get their software, but the truth of the matter is they've got a lot of forward-thinking information that will make you think differently about your business, certainly the customer needs, which is really the thing that's changing here. At the end of the day, the print industry is still doing the same thing it's always done. It's printing and creating applications, but the needs, what those applications are, and the needs for the people who receive them are the things that are changing. And you're really forward with that sort of market thought, visionary. Chile Publishers is really a visionary a company in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think. Let's take one example, the packaging industry, right? We were talking about visualizing in 3D and so on. I think, true, that's very important, but even it goes a step further. Like, for many years in the web to print space, we've been templatizing marketing documents. Let's call them marketing documents. What we're seeing now is that we're even templatizing the structural design of packaging. So we got customers who build platforms where people can go online and basically change the dimensions of the box, and it automatically produces the die lines and all the stuff that's technically needed to go to production. But that's a lot of forward thinking. That's quite disruptive in for certain people to work, and especially big packaging companies who have been doing things for many, many years. So you need to educate, and sometimes we're a little bit ahead of of our ideas. But that's fine. That's where we are.
No, but that's exactly what I'm saying. You're a source, a resource, and I mention every time you sit on a panel that you say something that it sticks with me because I know it's coming. You were the first person I ever heard to say that printers need to act like advertising agencies when they go to a pitch. They need to have all of their key people there and think that this is the last account. If they don't get this account, their agency's going down, and they need to pitch every customer like they were pitching the biggest brand in the world. And I tell every printer that now. And now you're doing your izations. Maybe you could mention that a little bit.
Izations. Ization is what we basically, the term that we're trying to claim for anything that goes from localization to personalization to translation. Because that's what's relevant today. Any brand owner, unlike a few years ago, they have to make so many variations of what they're outputting. And that output could be packaging, could be print, could be digital, doesn't matter. But you need, and if you're not smarter in the way that you're working, then it's gonna increase the cost of production enormously. And that's why we have a mission actually that we call CORE, create once, repurpose everywhere. And we try to bring that into philosophy and drive those what we call izations.
Right.
But even izations is it needs education in the market, because not everybody always knows what we
Right.
mean by that.
But the point is, even having the conversation opens up another Asian, which is collaboration, which happens to be, it's a great conversation to have. All of those things you said, globalization, localization, personalization, require collaboration with customers. You can't just make up what they need. Konica Minolta, same question. What kind of resources can the print community come to you for to help them explain what's going on to their customers?
Yes, as ABC was saying earlier, a lot of it is the files that are coming in right to the print provider that need help. So we like to educate our customers to make sure that they have the tools and they understand what the files need to look like in order to get successful print from that. So we also like to make sure that if we're having a lot of issues downstream from them or upstream from them, we want to make sure that their customers know what to provide them to make the job go through the systems a lot smoother and simpler with less issues and problems. So our team is always trying to educate the customer to make sure they have what they need and they understand what they're doing and what they need to have to submit to the machines, but also make sure that gets down to the customers as well, to their customers, to the print buyers.
You wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I was
Go
just
right
going to
ahead.
say, I think one of the most important collaborations, and I guess it's been a bit of a change from the vendor side, is when you buy something, and I think you just mentioned it earlier, you need to make sure that the vendor you're buying from plays nice
Yeah.
with other people, because unless you want to be stuck in that one vendor space and it's going to cost you a lot of money to get out, then you need to collaborate. Things need to talk to each other. We talk about automation. If you buy something, it has to talk to everything else, unless you want to have a problem 2 or 3 years down the line.
Right. I think of it like a DeLorean. Who wants one of those now? Nobody. Because
Well, they're worth a lot of money now.
Well, they are? Okay, never mind, I take it back. But you can't get parts for them. Okay, well, at least everyone agrees with me on that. All right, I want to go out into this printiverse a little, up there in the stratosphere. And, I mean, I would say the brass ring for printers is to walk in and there's a print customer who's like, tell me what we can do together and how do I work best with you, which probably never happens, right, Jamie? They're just like, this is what I want, how much does it cost? How do we create collaborative customers? Are there characteristics that we can tap into? Or are there certain decision makers in the companies? Are those the ones you have to reach? But how do we get people more open to? In the advertising agencies, it's interesting because a client will come to you and say, this is what we want. And we'll say, okay, that's what you think you want, but we're going to give you what you need. Now, we have that luxury because we're supposed to be creative people. If a printer, if I sent an estimate and I said, this is what I want, and the printer said, no, this is what you want, I'd be like, bye, Mr. Printer or Ms. Printer. It was nice working with you. So how do we create those people who are just willing to be sponges?
I think the first thing is relationship, I think, and also an understanding not all customers are the same. A millennial is not the same as somebody my age. I don't want to tweet every 5 minutes. But also the opportunity that's there, the upsell. What do they want at the end of the day? They want a nice job. And if you can upsell them with a lamination or a matte varnish or a different paper, that's a conversation worth having. So I don't think there's any kind of magic bullet of what to see. It's opening the discussion and how they want to work with you and how they can, it's not a one-off piece that you're producing. You want to build that relationship and get more out of them. So I think it's just discussion and being open and trying to find out what they want and going from there.
PrintIQ, Chile, Konica?
Again, I'll reiterate with ABC here. It's about the relationship first and foremost, and having a one based on trust, obviously. Beyond that, it's about education, communication, and building additional perspective, growing somebody's perspective, and teaching them how to potentially see their business differently and maybe attain more from a project than they would have even thought initially. So without the relationship, without that communication, and helping them grow their perspective, you're probably going to look at a finite project.
Kevin?
To stay in the same topic, I guess, one of the things we see with a lot of our customers is stuff like bot chats, where basically the chat boxes allow them when they go and create, they try to mimic the relationship they had many years ago when somebody would come and visit the store or the print shop. I think that's a trick. I think the companies who manage to bring that to the digital world, they'll be the winners at the end of the day because they can collaborate. And a chat box is one way of doing that. There's probably other ways of doing that. Like I know we have some online printers, for example, and obviously they allow you to go templatized. But if you're really lazy or you don't want to do it, you just press a button, and there is actually a guy dialing in. And he will guide you. He will walk you through. It's collaboration. It's like, I think it's really neat. You pay for the premium service, but it's really neat. So, and it's what they used to do 10 years ago, face to face. But people don't want to do that anymore. So we gotta think of ways of doing that online, digital. And if you manage to do that, then you'll be the winner of tomorrow.
Thank you. Konica?
Yes, I agree with a lot of my colleagues here. It's a lot of being about open and honest with your customers and what you can provide for them. And we want to make sure that as we move more into the digital world and everything becomes more automated and everybody wants to submit everything through the web, I want to make sure we can have a good way to be able to communicate with them and collaborate with them and just help them along as best we can.
Cool. So let's wrap it up by letting people know. Konica, you can keep talking. Tell everybody what's going on in your booth at the trade, at the show, and how they can get in touch if they're at home.
Okay, so we're showing quite a bit of different equipment in our booth this year. We have several different machines from MGI showing digital foil, embellishment, 3D varnish, textured varnished and foil, and also a toner-based foil system. It's really cool where you can put foil down and then print right on top of that with the toner on top. You can create really cool pieces. We also are showing a wide format printer for the first time in our booth. And we also have a transactional press showing 8.5 by 11 and 8.5 by 14 transactional print. New product line for us as well, the WebJet system. So then we have all our production print machines as well, showing all our booklet makers and toner-based machines.
And Konica Minolta Business US, what is your website? It's long.
Konica Minolta.
Minolta.us, something like that,
yeah,
business.us. You just look up Konica Minolta, you'll find
exactly. We're all over Facebook as
Kevin,
well.
what's going on back in the chili booth besides, I'm assuming, Belgian beer and Belgian chocolate has got to be involved somehow?
As always. But no, we're showing the latest version, which includes, we just launched our Illustrator plugin. We always had an InDesign plugin, so we are capable of now supporting Illustrator. New VDP capabilities around variable data printing. Those are the two main things, so come check it out. You can find us at www.chili-publish.com.
And I really encourage you to visit the Chili blog and definitely look at their website. They really are, of all the people I come across, they're next. They're always next. And as I mentioned, I always learn something from Kevin. He always makes me think about something differently that ends up sticking with me. You're like a little worm in my head. I'm like, that's not what Kevin said. Or something will happen like 2 years later. I'm like, Kevin said that 2 years ago. So listen to this guy. ABC. Good day. Oh, no, that's Australia.
It's Australia, yeah.
Damn it.
So we've got Pit Stop and we've got Switch and a few other bits and pieces as well. So if you're going to come to the booth, you can expect to see demonstrations from both those products. So PDF quality control and automation. Pit Stop actually won a Vanguard Award at the show for breakthrough technology. So we're very, very pleased about that. You can come and have a picture with the award if you want. If you're just starting out in automation and you're worried about how to get going, and obviously there's a lot of things running through your head about how to start and where the benefits are, we have a lot of our very experienced US resellers on the booth who can talk you through it and tell you what other companies have done and give you some pointers. If you want to know more about PDF and PDF 2.0 and PDF X6 and some of the standards that are coming up, or if you want to talk about the Ghent work group, you can
Ghent work group.
You can come and have a chat with me, and we're a friendly bunch, and we have beer. We're backing onto Kevin's booth, so we have beer in the afternoon. But please don't all come at once. And it's a great show so far.
And I am so happy that Enfocus is in the alliance. I'm not a printer. I don't know how it works, but every printer I speak to uses PitStop. So I'm glad that you're here representing, and also representing Australia, and global, even though you're not from Australia. You're American.
Primarily North America at this show.
Excellent.
So,
and I love that PrintIQ is a company that when you first were with us was just the Australians came, and now you have a full American presence. And let's discuss that a bit.
Yeah, full American presence, meaning sales and licensing representation across the continent. And we have all 5 time zones covered in terms of service, implementation, and support as well. So we're growing our base. We are hiring 2 more positions in the next few weeks, and we're looking forward to gaining momentum.
And what's going on in your booth back there?
First of all, we're in the technology sector, booth 249. We're doing demonstrations of our end-to-end MIS. We serve all verticals within print, and it's an extremely scalable solution, whether you're a few-person print shop or you have 1,000 employees. We're agnostic to the size of business you are and what you do, be it large format digital, commercial offset, web-fed, screen, folding cartons, flexible packaging. We serve the entire industry. If you're interested to come by for a demo, pick up some information, and you can see some videos and content of our product on PrintIQ.com. That's www.PrintIQ.com.
And PrintIQ is very collaborative. Adrian and Mick are on a lot of podcasts on my channel. They always have something really interesting to say, by the way.
There is no beer at our booth, unfortunately, so you have to rely on these guys for the beer.
But they have really cute accents if you talk to the Australians. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. All the people in the booth, thank you for spending your time with us here. And at home, we will be back in a few minutes with web to wall, digital decor on